It's just a great movie.
An essential. You know, before the movie, we talked a lot about Gene Tierney, who was so, I think, terrific in this movie. But Dana Andrews was such a good actor. He's good in this as Mark, the detective, and I think he's wonderful in The Best Years of Our Lives. He's got that wonderful voice, and he was always such a good actor, and he never gets the credit he deserves, I don't think.
Well, I was excited when I saw Mrs. Danvers show up.
Yes, Judith Anderson.
I mean, I'm always thrilled to see her. Mrs. Danvers is...
Especially when she's not running a house.
Oh, my God. I mean,
Yes.
It was so interesting to see Vincent Price
Right.
in a completely different role. However, he still carried a sort of slightly distance, tinge creepy, whereas, you know, we're so familiar with the Vincent Price of horror films, and it was interesting to see him play this sort of leading man, but not a leading man, and there was all these different layers going on there, and the accompaniment of Judith Anderson, it was just a perfect note for me because they both have that sort of oddness to them.
Mm-hmm. I love Bessie the maid.
Oh, yeah.
She was great.
She's so great.
All those little pieces were wonderful. I love this whole cast. I did love the Judith Anderson being in there, and Vincent Price, and Clifton Webb, I think, was really kind of interesting. Because moviegoers at that point didn't know him. You know, he was kind of a fresh face on the screen and everything. I think if you'd had George Sanders in it, or Laird Craigar, who were famous for playing villains, right off the bat, it would tip you off that they were a villain.
Yes.
So Clifton Webb was very kind of prissy and all of that, but he wasn't a villain in your mind.
No.
I mean, you didn't see him as
Well, I
somebody
wasn't sure if he would be in love with Laura. I wasn't sure of the nature of their relationship.
Yeah.
So there
Or
was
he could just
great ambiguity there.
He could absolutely be mesmerized by her and taken with her, and not necessarily want to be bedding her down.
Yeah.
You know, because
I didn't get that impression.
no, that didn't bother me at all.
No, I thought it was an interesting
And it was kind
choice.
of a surprise at the end that he was the villain, because there were others that seemed, certainly Judith Anderson and Vincent Price would both have reason for trying to do away with her.
Yeah, and their performances are laying it on in a certain way where you think it might be them. At one point, I thought that Laura, you know, was the killer, which I loved, and I loved the interrogation scene when he brings her in, and I found the twists and turns very interesting.
Yeah. Well, moving on. Here's a look at the film we'll be showing next week, right here on The Essentials. Beauty and the Beast, 1946. This movie is the epitome of a dreamlike experience for me.
This film was one of my earliest forays into high art cinema.
It's amazing that they were able to make this movie during the Nazi occupation of France.
Jean Cocteau took something that was so very famous and yet made it all his own.
From 1946, Beauty and the Beast. That's next Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can find out more at tcm.com. Thanks for joining us for The Essentials.
Tonight on Turner Classic Movies, Gene Tierney's husband won't stand in Dana Andrews' way where the sidewalk ends. Then Dana and Gene defect in the Cold War thriller, The Iron Curtain. And the TCM Underground reminds you to pack a hatchet for the honeymoon. Experience